This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Previously, on Jennifer Love Hewitt, Please Be on Our Show.
Jennifer gasped as her surroundings dissolved into darkness, her heart pounding as a cold voice echoed in her mind. They're coming for you, Jennifer. Jennifer awoke with a start, her heart still racing from the vision of her great-grandmother. The words echoed in her mind, guardians of the artifacts, forces that seek to use you, as she lay there in the stillness of her darkened bedroom, trying to make sense of what she had just experienced. It had felt so real. Unlike the wild, confusing dreams she'd been having since her accident, this vision was sharp, vivid, and undeniably personal. Her great-grandmother had seemed worried, desperate even. The fog of sleep clung to Jennifer, but the urgency in her great-grandmother's voice pushed her to sit up and swing her legs over the side of the bed. She glanced at the clock. It was just after 3 a.m., the same time she'd received the strange, cryptic phone call the night before. A knot formed in her stomach. Her instincts screamed that this was no coincidence. Something was coming for her, just as her great-grandmother had warned. But who, and why? With shaky hands, she reached for the glass of water on her nightstand and took a few sips, trying to steady herself. Her phone buzzed next to the water glass, making her jump. Hesitant, she picked it up and saw an unknown number flashing on the screen. Jennifer hesitated, her pulse quickening, but something told her she needed to answer. "Hello," she whispered into the phone, barely able to get the word out. "Jennifer, it's me." Party Donkey, a familiar voice on the other end, said, sounding both urgent and agitated. Jennifer let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "Party Donkey? Is this really you?" "Yeah, it's me. Look, I don't have time for pleasantries. We've got a serious problem. He's back, and it's worse than we thought." Jennifer's mind raced, trying to keep up. "Who's back? What are you talking about?" There was a pause on the other end, then Party Donkey's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. "Ted Cruz." Jennifer froze, her heart pounding. Ted Cruz? The Texas senator? What does Ted Cruz have to do with any of this? "Everything," Party Donkey said, his voice laced with bitterness. "He's been after these artifacts for years, working behind the scenes, gathering power. And now he's found a way to get them all. He's planning to take the artifacts to Cancun. He thinks if he offers them to the political gods there, they'll grant him eternal power. It's the only way he can stay in control." Jennifer's mind spun as she tried to process what she was hearing. Ted Cruz? Cancun? The political gods? It sounded absurd, but after everything she'd been through, the dreams, the visions, the warnings from her great-grandmother, she knew better than to dismiss anything out of hand. "Ted Cruz is planning to use the artifacts," she repeated, her voice barely a whisper. "Yes," Party Donkey confirmed, "and if he succeeds, it's game over. For all of us." Jennifer sat in stunned silence for a moment, her mind racing through the implications. She had heard rumors about Ted Cruz's ties to shadowy political figures and strange rituals, but she'd always thought they were just conspiracy theories. Now, it seemed, they were terrifyingly real. "But how do you know this? And why now?" Jennifer asked. "I've been tracking him for months," Party Donkey replied. "I didn't want to pull you into this unless it was absolutely necessary, but he's close, Jennifer. Too close. He already has most of the artifacts. We can't let him get the final one, or we're all screwed. Jennifer rubbed her temples, trying to make sense of the information. Wait, I thought the last artifact was on that island the one Drew and I found. What else is there? There was another pause on the line, followed by a heavy sigh. That wasn't the last one, Jennifer. That was just one piece. The final artifact is here, in the States, and Cruz is already on his way to retrieve it. Jennifer's heart sank. Where? There was a moment of tense silence before Party Donkey spoke again. Texas. By the time the sun rose the next morning, Jennifer was already in full motion. She packed a small bag with essentials, her phone charger, a flashlight, and whatever first aid supplies she could find, and headed out the door. Her mind was racing with the revelations of the past few hours. She still didn't fully understand the connection between her, the artifacts, and Ted Cruz's insane quest for eternal political power, but she knew one thing for certain: she had to stop him. Party Donkey had texted her an address in Texas where they were supposed to meet. It was a remote ranch near Austin, deep in Cruz's home territory. She didn't know what to expect when she got there, but she trusted Party Donkey. They had been through a lot together, even if most of it seemed surreal now. Besides, if Ted Cruz really was planning to use the artifacts to seize ultimate control, she couldn't just sit by and let it happen. The drive from California to Texas was long and grueling. As she crossed the state line into Texas, Jennifer couldn't shake the eerie feeling that she was being watched. The vast, empty landscape of the Texas plains stretched out before her, endless and unforgiving. It was the kind of place where someone could disappear without a trace. Her phone buzzed again. It was Party Donkey. "You're getting close. Be careful. Cruz has people everywhere." Jennifer swallowed hard and pressed on the gas pedal, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. She had never been involved in anything like this before. Sure, she had played heroic roles on TV, but this was real. There were no cameras, no scripts, and no second takes. This time, the stakes were higher than anything she had ever imagined. As she neared the ranch, the landscape grew more rugged, the road narrowing into a dusty, unpaved trail. The sky was an ominous shade of gray, clouds swirling above like a portent of the storm to come. She spotted the entrance to the ranch, a rusted gate hanging crookedly on its hinges. The place looked deserted. Jennifer pulled her car up to the gate and killed the engine. She stepped out, the dry wind tugging at her hair as she looked around. The ranch house was a short walk up the hill, a dilapidated old building that had clearly seen better days. She hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to call out for Party Donkey or go in quietly. Before she could decide, she heard the unmistakable sound of hooves behind her. Jennifer spun around just in time to see Party Donkey trotting toward her from a side path, his worn-out saddlebags bouncing on his sides. His expression was grim, his eyes scanning the area for any signs of danger. "You made it," he said, his voice low and serious. "Of course I made it," Jennifer replied, her heart pounding in her chest. "What's going on, Party Donkey? What's Cruz planning?" "It's worse than I thought," Party Donkey said, trotting up beside her. "I've been tracking Cruz's movements for weeks. He's been in contact with some of the most powerful political figures in the world, people we thought were on our side. But they're not. They've been helping him gather the artifacts. And they're all meeting in Cancun tomorrow night for the final ceremony." Jennifer's stomach twisted. "The ceremony?" Party Donkey nodded. "It's an ancient ritual. The artifacts, when brought together, have the power to summon the political gods. Cruz thinks if he offers them up, the gods will grant him control over the world's governments. No one will be able to stand against him. Not in Congress, not in the courts, nowhere. Jennifer felt a chill run down her spine. And he's doing all of this to stay in power. Exactly, Party Donkey replied, his voice filled with disgust. He's willing to burn the world down just to keep his Senate seat. It's insane. Jennifer clenched her fists. Then, we need to stop him. Party Donkey nodded. That's why we're here. Cruz has the final artifact stashed somewhere on this ranch. He's planning to pick it up before heading to Cancun. If we can find it and destroy it, we can stop the ceremony and take away his power. Jennifer's heart raced as she looked up at the old ranch house. Let's do this. The ranch house was eerily silent as they approached, the floorboards creaking underfoot. Dust clung to the windows, and the smell of mildew hung heavy in the air. Jennifer's senses were on high alert as they entered the house, searching for any sign of the final artifact. It's here somewhere, Party Donkey whispered, his eyes darting around the room. Cruz wouldn't leave it unguarded, though. Be careful. Jennifer nodded, her pulse quickening as they moved through the darkened hallways. The place felt like a tomb, the weight of the history and secrets hidden within its walls pressing down on them. They reached a door at the back of the house, heavy and reinforced with steel. Jennifer's heart skipped a beat. This had to be it. To be continued. Party Donkey brayed softly, signaling for Jennifer to be ready. He leaned forward, using his hooves to push the door open just enough for them to see inside. The room beyond was small and dimly lit, its only occupant a large wooden crate sitting on a table. Party Donkey lay next to her, bruised but defiant. We're not done yet, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the roar of the engine. We'll stop him. Somehow we'll stop him. Jennifer nodded, her pulse still racing. But how? Cruz is too close. He's got everything. Party Donkey's eyes darkened. Not everything. There's one thing he doesn't know about the real final artifact. It's not on this ranch. It's hidden somewhere else. With someone you're not going to like. Jennifer frowned, confusion swirling. Who? Party Donkey's voice dropped to a whisper. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.